Look, I'm not trying to scare you, but there's a lot going on right now that is not making it to the news. This right here is in Australia.
So Sienna and I have just come to Coles to literally get popcorn. And look, there's nothing. Look at the shelves here in Darwin. What the
Right now, everybody's focused in on this war that's happening with Iran and how they blocked the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil and gas is supposed to be flowing through, but it's not at the moment. This is causing some really big problems. People in India are fighting over gas. Australia's energy minister has said that they have about 38 days of gas and 30 days of diesel left in their reserves. The Philippines declared a state of energy emergency, and the International Energy Agency is saying this is the worst energy crisis in modern history. But that's not the full story. What people haven't been talking about is the fact that 30% of the world's seaborne fertilizer trade also passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Prices for that primary fertilizer called urea is already up 30%, and you better believe that's going to show up in your food prices. And unlike with oil, there's no international reserves of fertilizer that can just be released to relieve some of the pressure. Right now, the United Nations World Food Program is saying that around 45 million additional people could be pushed into acute hunger due to rising food and fuel costs and supply chain disruptions. And for all my Westerners who think that this isn't going to affect you, listen up. All of this is happening right at the beginning of the planting season in the Northern Hemisphere. Farmers are having to make tough decisions about what exactly they're going to do. Are they going to buy fertilizer or just sit this season out? How much fertilizer are they going to buy? What crops are they going to plant? And for some, this might completely put them out of business right as the farming industry in the United States continues to consolidate into fewer and fewer hands. Another thing that's finally starting to make it to the news is that there's a wildfire in Nebraska that's already burned over 800,000 acres of land. And this has devastated grazing land for an estimated 40,000 plus cows, which means ranchers are also going to be under a lot of pressure to figure out how they're going to feed these cows. Jeffrey Snyder, the founder of Eurodollar University and a popular analyst here on Twitter, pointed out that we also need to think about the fact that the biggest concern doesn't have to show up in food and gas prices. History tells us that this spike in the price of oil might actually come at the cost of your job. We know that the economy in the U.S. already isn't in the best spot, so any extra pressure, businesses might just start cutting workers as they're also raising prices. Look, I don't want you to be scared. I just want you to be prepared. The major signal for me is whether or not the Strait of Hormuz opens back up and these ships start flowing in this region again. Not what these world leaders are talking about. All they're doing is yapping, trying to manage reputation and also manipulating financial markets so they can make money. Once the Strait of Hormuz opens back up, all of this is going to be mitigated. But until then, like I said, don't be scared, be prepared. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe to stay up to date as the situation develops, and I'll see you soon.